Matters, presented by IntoWork Australia, leaders in employment, skills and support.
Hello and welcome back to Work Matters, brought to you by the team over at IntoWork Australia. I'm your host, Mike Loader, and while there's been a near record low unemployment across Australia at the moment, some cohorts are apparently still overrepresented in the unemployment figures. Here to discuss this further is Poul, the Group CEO of IntoWork Australia. As always, it's good to see you, Poul. Thanks for your time.
Great to be here, Mike.
Now, tell us through a little bit more about what you've seen. Overall, Australia is enjoying low unemployment rates, as I understand it, but it's not the case across the board.
No, absolutely not. It's fascinating, isn't it? We've got this record low unemployment rate right across the country. So if you look at the bigger picture, it's fantastic. However, there's a whole range of different groups of people who are missing out. There've been some really good stories about where people have been able to break through the barriers and gain employment, but there are definitely certain segments of the community who are missing out. First Nations people, their unemployment rate is much higher. Migrants, recent migrants coming into the country, people living with a disability, and also marginalised young people are just some of the different cohorts who really are missing out still. And it's what can we do to be able to change some of that going forward? That really matters now.
Yeah, absolutely. So why is there overrepresentation in these areas, do you think, Paul?
Look, that's a great question, Mike, and I think it's a complex answer, isn't it? When you look right across at all of the different cohorts that we're talking about, there are different backgrounds to all of that. So we've got entrenched disadvantage in numerous communities right across the country. That has led to some real challenges too within those areas. People living with a disability, there still is some discrimination in certain areas and in certain aspects of workforce as well, which leads to challenges. And migrants, particularly recent migrants, still have a whole range of different barriers. So whether it's language barriers, whether it's cultural barriers, whether it's just different ways of working that they're used to in a different country, and even their skills qualifications, their skills are not necessarily recognised here within Australia. So that leads to additional challenges for them as they're trying to get, I guess, their first steps here, and we really need them to be involved. As you said before, we are lacking people on the ground. We've had our Jobs and Skills Summit last year that I was fortunate enough to attend. We've had a whole range of different discussion papers and the like come out. But the challenge still is how do we actually change our mindset, both as employers, both as providers out there in the sector, and also, I guess, a broader community to be able to shift how we're thinking about employment pathways and create new, more tailored approaches going forward.
Absolutely, and you guys are always on top of that and bringing that to our attention. But let's bring in our guests for today. Now we have Kylie Van Leeuwen, who is the MAS State Manager, New South Wales and the ACT, who designed and leads the Supporting Migrant Women team into employment program. She's joining us now to tell us a bit more about how she's managing to help people out there. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Mike. Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit first off about that process that, and I guess who was involved. Take us through what you're up to.
So I've spent close to 10 years designing and leading education, settlement, training, employment and English language programs to migrant and refugee women. And so I've spent many hours coaching and mentoring and sitting with many of these women, listening to their journeys to employment, listening to their trauma, their experiences, and understanding their unique barriers. So I knew from my own experience as a service provider previously and a coach, but also in my discussions with these women, that there was still a significant gap in specialist and holistic employment mentoring. So when we designed the program, I was really conscious to ensure that it was truly person-centred. We do throw that word around a lot in program design, but we wanted to make sure it was genuinely person-centred and it wasn't solely focused on employment. I spent close to 2 years researching and consulting with psychotherapists, employment specialists, migrant women themselves, employers, local migrant resource centres, and settlement organisations, as well as employment service providers. And there was a consensus that this was not only a program that was needed to support migrant women, but also to raise awareness of diversity, equity, inclusion with employers.
100%. So take us through the importance of the whole community approach, if I can jump in there, Kylie.
Yeah, so adopting the whole of community approach in designing and delivering this program has ensured that it's relevant and it's culturally responsive and appropriate. So it meets the needs, it continues to meet the needs of the women that we support and the communities where they live and reside. It's also meant that we can deliver the program in communities, supporting women where they're most comfortable and creating a real safe space where they can connect with other women, build a network, and participate wholly in the program. And that's why our program has seen such high retention and completion rates, is that we're seeing so many of these women transitioning into employment that's meaningful for them. And I think that's because of the trust that we build very early on in the program.
100%. Kylie, I wanted to get some, just to finish for us, tell us about the funding that you and the team have secured for another innovative program for migrant women. Could you give us a quick summary about what you'll be using that for and how it's all going?
So the new program is New South Wales based and funded, and it's very much focused, it's a specialist employment program again, but it's focused on connecting culturally and linguistically diverse women to trades careers. So as we know, women are very significantly underrepresented in trades, and women from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds even more so.
Yeah.
And so this new program aims to build the awareness amongst those women of the vocational pathways and career opportunities in trades, but also to empower them to explore those career options and opportunities.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. To both of you, look forward to seeing you all again very soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Work Matters for the moment. We look forward to seeing you all again next time. Be well.